You're tuning into Night and Noire Radio, 99.1 FM.
Where the shadows swing and the secrets sing.
Serving up jazz in just the right amount of trouble.
Good evening, Montreal. You're tuning into Night and Noire Radio on 99.1 FM, where the jazz is hot and the truths are served chilled. I'm your host, Melanie Noire, guiding you through this urban nocturne with a martini in one hand and the city's pulse in the other. But first, let's riff on the week's headlines, Montreal style. The writ has dropped, folks. Canada's heading to the polls in what's already being called the TikTok election. With leaders scrambling for the youth vote, expect cringeworthy dance challenges and attack ads set to lo-fi beats. Meanwhile, Montreal's swing seats are heating up faster than a jazz trumpet solo. Will the Anglo vote break left or right? Place your bets. Rent prices in Montreal just hit a record high, apparently. Unaffordable is the new luxury. The city's promising 15,000 new units, but with construction slower than a funeral dirge, renters are left improvising. Pro tip, that cozy 300 square feet apartment listing, probably a converted janitor's closet. The Metro's new security surge continues targeting the homeless because nothing says world-class city like kicking people onto the streets during spring rains. Fun fact, those much-hyped clean teams cost more per hour than a therapist. Priorities none. Another Montreal AI startup just fled to Toronto, lured by tax breaks and the siren song of Bay Street cash. Our Silicon Valley of the North Dream, more like a garage band that lost its drummer. At least the empty offices make great illegal jazz venues. Now, let's shift gears from the chaos to something smoother. Tonight's playlist is a love letter to modern jazz, where tradition collides with innovation. We've got the liquid gold keys of Dublon, the razor-sharp rhythms of A.J. Hamilton, Jalouse's sultry brass, and Barilow's bending time like a bureaucrat bending the truth. So pour yourself something strong, lean back, and let the night carry you away. Tonight on Vinyl Underground, we exhume one of Montreal's most dangerous records, KGB Bossa Nova, the 1987 cult classic by the Durocher Defectors. This quartet of Soviet jazzmen allegedly defected during a Montreal Jazz Fest, smuggling their master tapes in a diplomatic pouch lined with capitalist propaganda. Or so the story goes. The story gets interesting. Rumor says the KGB embedded coded messages in the clave rhythms, coordinates of safe houses, names of informants, even a biscuit recipe that may or may not be a cipher. The album was pulled from shelves after CSIS raided a Verdun record shop in '89, but bootlegs still circulate in Mile End's back alleys. Now our friends at the Russian consulate insist this is all capitalist paranoia. But ask yourself, why does track 4, Midnight in Durocher, sound exactly like the encryption key used in last week's cyber attacks? And why did a certain cybersecurity firm suddenly start using it as their hold music? Coincidence? Probably. But if you listen closely at 3:33, you'll hear something very curious. Anyway, tonight's reissue comes to us via a private collector. Let's just say it arrived in a USB drive stuffed inside a Matryoshka doll. This is Lithuanian Lullaby for sleepy spies, perfect for midnight surveillance stakeout. This was Vinyl Underground. I hope you enjoyed it. But now, I wanted to read you my ode to the 24-hour night. So, let me tell you something about this city. Something true. Montreal doesn't have a nightlife. It is the nightlife. A living, breathing creature that slinks through the alleyways of the plateau, curls around the flickering street lamps of Mile X, and hums along to the 3 a.m. rattle of the last metro train. And now they've gone and given us the greatest gift of all, permission to never say goodbye. These 24-hour licenses, they're not just pieces of paper stamped by some bureaucrat in a too-tight suit. They're love letters to the ones who've always known the night isn't for sleeping. It's for the poet scribbling verses on napkins at Café Clio at 4 a.m. It's for the jazz pianist at Dieza who plays until her fingers ache, because the crowd, our crowd, won't let her stop. It's for the taxi drivers who've memorized the shift change at every after-hours club, and the bakers who start their days as the rest of us are still whispering our good nights. I've spent half my life in these shadows, friends. I've watched cities across the world roll up their sidewalks at midnight, surrendering to the tyranny of business hours. But not here. Never here. In Montreal, the night is a collaboration between the bartender pouring one last round for the stragglers, the drag queen fixing her wig in the glow of a vending machine, the saxophonist who trades his last cigarette for a story worth turning into a song. The 24-hour nightlife didn't create that magic. It just finally acknowledged it. So tonight, as I sit here in this dim-lit studio, spinning records for you insomniacs and shift workers and kindred spirits, I raise my glass to the city that never clocks out, to the musicians playing until their hands shake and the dancers moving until their feet bleed, to the night managers who know all our names and the dishwashers who've heard every secret. You're the reason this frequency never goes silent. This one's for you, the ones who keep the lights on when the rest of the world has given up on tomorrow. Before we part ways, let me tell you something ugly. We're raising a generation of musical illiterates. Jazz isn't dying because it's irrelevant. It's suffocating under the weight of willful ignorance. People who'll nod along to Take 5 in some overpriced cafe but can't name a living jazz musician besides Kamasi Washington, who think improvisation means pressing shuffle on a Spotify playlist, who treat Coltrane like background noise for their goddamn avocado toast. This isn't just about taste. It's about disrespect. You don't walk into Notre Dame Basilica and blast trap music through the nave. But clubs book jazz as sonic wallpaper, audiences talk through solos like they're waiting for a bus, and politicians fund opera houses while the last real jazz venues bleed out on back streets. Why? Because jazz demands something of you. It's a conversation, not a commodity. You don't consume it, you meet it halfway. And Christ, that's terrifying to people who'd rather be spoon-fed algorithms than risk feeling something unscripted. But here's the truth they're missing. Jazz is the last honest language we've got. It's how a Haitian drummer and a Mile-End saxophonist find common ground in 7/8 time. How a room full of strangers can gasp at the same blue note. It's the sound of a city listening to itself, really listening, not just waiting for its turn to speak. When you butcher that, you're not just killing music. You're severing the last nerve connecting us to each other. So no, I won't modernize this show with EDM remixes of Mingus. I won't apologize for the silence after a ballad, or the way Monk's dissonance makes you squirm. This is the sound of human beings trying, unfiltered and unguarded. If that's too much for you, there's 1,000 other frequencies selling comfort. But here, we nourish the musical soul, or we starve together. And so, my dear shadows, the hour grows late. The city exhales its neon sighs, and we slip back into the cracks where the light don't reach. This is Melanie Noire signing off for now. Remember, the night always listens, even when you think you're alone. Keep your secrets close, your bourbon closer, and if you must wander, mind the cracks in the pavement. Until next time, Montreal, sweet dreams.
Oh shit, they're probing the signal again. Same patterns last week. Tracing the IPs through the Joe stream. Clever fucking bastard. Got you. Running the feed through the backup tower now. Melanie's voice stay clean, but they're getting closer. Next time we encrypt the bank fucking playlist.
The night always listens.
Alright, gone for now. The transmitter is clean, but the line's compromised. Melanie's gonna need a new alias by Thursday. Fuck.
The night always listens. The night always listens. The night always listens. The night always listens.